For the younger viewers out there, how would you like to passively earn over $4 million by retirement? Without doing anything risky like gambling on a stock that you hope is the next Amazon, or running to Las Vegas and betting everything you have. Well, today I'm going to share 2 simple and easy things you can do that can allow you to earn, not save, but earn over $4 million, and in doing that, I'll show you what steps to follow, the exact numbers I used, and how the math works out. But first, I want to welcome you to Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, the channel that focuses on different ways to improve our financial wellness. I'm Kevin, and I wanted to make this video for my younger viewers, particularly the millennials and Gen Z, so that you can set yourselves up for a nice retirement without needing to get lucky to do it. Now, these 2 things I'm going to talk about today are also ones my older viewers can use as well. You just won't have the benefit of having as long of a timeline to get the bigger returns that our younger viewers can have. And it still might really benefit you a lot if you share the information with your kids, who will then hopefully follow it, so that you won't have them knocking on your door asking for money after they've long moved out, or hopefully moved out. Now, to set the stage, what I'm going to share with you is hardly revolutionary, but I also know that depending on your background, you might not have had a lot of exposure to investing while you were growing up. I look back at my younger self and I didn't have that either. Now, this isn't a sob story because I came from a good, hardworking family that were really good savers, but they just didn't invest, so I didn't have anyone to really show me how it was done. One of the many ways that my parents really helped me was that they allowed me to move back home with them after college for a couple of years, where I was able to pay off my school loans to the point where I then started to have some extra money. Now, coming from a family with a background of saving, I didn't go crazy buying a lot of things I didn't need, but I also knew saving money in the bank wasn't a great way to grow wealth. At that time, the internet was still in its infancy, so there wasn't a lot of great information out there that you could find. So what I did, knowing nothing about investing, I bought a book that really opened my eyes and really helped me to get to where I am today. And that book was Investing for Dummies. Yep, For Dummies book. I love those books because they are so easy to follow. And that book has paid for itself thousands of times over. So if buying that book and learning from it makes me a dummy, I'm more than fine with that. Now today, compared to that time, there's a lot of information out there available to you, and of course, YouTube is one of the main places people go to learn all kinds of things. But much of that information isn't great, whether it's because someone's trying to sell you on something, pitching you on a get-rich-quick scheme, or because they don't know what they're talking about, or don't have the experience. So as I celebrate the 20th anniversary of my 29th birthday, I want to share some of the things I've learned over the years that can help you earn over $4 million for retirement without taking any extraordinary risks to do it. So let's get to the first of the 2 things you can do to become a millionaire multiple times over, and then we'll follow this up with a look of how the numbers add up. Number 1, opening and investing in an IRA. IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. The big benefit of an IRA is that it allows you to invest your money in a tax-advantaged way. How that works will depend on which of the 2 types of IRAs you decide to invest in. The first type is a traditional IRA, where you invest your money tax-deferred, which basically means you invest the money before it's taxed. With this type of account, the money you invest grows tax-free over the years, and you only pay taxes on it once you start taking money out. So with this type of IRA, as you put money in now, not only does that money not get taxed, so you have more left to invest with, but if you leave it in the account for, say, 40 years, it grows during that time without you having to pay any taxes on it until you start taking it out. Now, the second type of IRA is called a Roth IRA. It's almost a mirror image of a traditional IRA in that for a Roth IRA, you use money that has been taxed already, so that's the money that's left in your paycheck after taxes are taken out. But the difference here is that as your money is invested in the Roth IRA, it grows and grows, and when you take it out, again maybe 40 years later, you won't have to pay any taxes on it. So while a traditional IRA has the tax benefits on the front end, a Roth IRA has the benefits on the back end. Now, this video isn't meant to go over all the nuances or the pros and cons of a traditional IRA versus a Roth IRA, or even which is better. It's basically me saying that investing in either type can help you meet your retirement goals, or in the case of this video, show you how, over time, it could help you earn over $4 million. However, if you would like me to make a more detailed video on the differences between a Roth and a traditional IRA, let me know in the comments. So part of the assumption for maximizing your investment returns is that you're contributing up to the annual limits. Currently, the annual limit for IRAs is $6,000. And then once you turn 50, you can contribute up to another $1,000. When I get to showing you the numbers, I'll only be using $6,000 per year for my IRA entry. Obviously, over time, that limit could get increased, making your returns even higher. Or once you're over 50 years old, putting in that extra $1,000 will increase your returns as well. But the key here is that you want to start your IRA early on so you can benefit from more years of compounding growth. Another really important part of having an IRA is how you're investing within it. For those of you with many years away from retirement, you'll want to make sure you invest primarily in stocks, as their returns historically are significantly much higher than other asset classes such as bonds. The safest, most cost-effective, and easiest way to do this is to invest in no-load, low-fee index mutual funds or exchange-traded funds called ETFs that track the overall market. This type of investing allows you to reduce the risk of investing in individual stocks, which also requires a lot of time and effort in attempting to pick the right ones. Because you don't have to pick the stocks, it's a big time saver and a good way to invest, as it has a proven history of having solid returns. If you just invested your money in an index fund that tracks the overall US market since 1926, where you don't have to do anything else other than put your money into the fund, you would have average annual returns of over 10%. Now remember, history can't predict the future, so you're not guaranteed anything, but history does have a way in showing you how past strategies have worked versus ones that didn't. Now, an alternative to an IRA is participating in an employer-sponsored plan like a 401k if you have access to one. With a 401k, your contribution limits can be higher, which would allow you to earn even more investment income. But for the purpose of this video and showing you how to reach the $4 million mark in earnings, we'll stick with you investing $6,000 in either an IRA or a 401k. Now, depending on your situation, $6,000 could be a lot of money that you might not feel you have. But I would challenge you to look at it a couple of different ways to see if investing that much is doable. If you break it down to a monthly amount, it would be $500 per month, or it could be $115 per week. And remember, if you are using a traditional IRA, you will have saved paying taxes on that amount, which can help you have a little extra money to work with. Before we really dig into the numbers and how your IRA can grow over time, let's talk about the second thing you can do to passively earn over $4 million by retirement, and that is investing in a health savings account, or an HSA. An HSA is something that was not around when I first started investing. They weren't established until 2003. And even once they were available for me, I didn't really understand how they worked until a few years ago when I started to see the opportunity that they presented in growing wealth. In fact, I was so enamored with how they worked that my second video ever on the channel was about HSAs. I'm not going to go over all the details about HSAs for the sake of time on this video, but if you want to learn more about them, I'll link my updated video which has all the current information for 2022. For a quick overview though, an HSA is an account where you can contribute pre-tax dollars that you can then use to pay for healthcare expenses tax-free. And within your HSA, and a lot of people don't know this, is that you can invest the money within your account, just like you can do within your IRA. In fact, over 90% of people don't invest in HSAs, which really limits its ability to help grow wealth. Now, the big thing with health savings accounts is that they have triple tax savings, better than either type of IRA or 401k. So let's talk about the three ways you can save on taxes. 1, the contributions you make to the account are tax-free. 2, the withdrawals you make for qualified health expenses are not taxed. And number 3, any money invested in the account grows tax-free. Let that settle in. You could contribute tax-free, allow the money to sit in the account and grow tax-free, and then pull out the money tax-free as long as it's used for reimbursement of healthcare expenses. So you could potentially let your money grow in an investment account and never pay any taxes. And by the time you're 65, and let's say you have no healthcare expenses, which would probably be unlikely, but let's say you don't, then the HSA would act like a traditional IRA where any distribution you take would be taxed at your current tax rate. Now, the one thing you have to be aware of is that to contribute to an HSA, you do have to pair with a qualified high deductible health plan. That part scares a lot of people off, but typically when you're young, you tend to have lower healthcare needs, so this is a great time to invest in an HSA and have a high deductible plan. And because high deductible plans tend to have lower or cheaper premiums, you could potentially save more money there. The video I referenced earlier talks about this, so definitely check it out for more details. Now, getting back to the purpose of building wealth, again, we're going to use the assumption that you're contributing to the maximal annual limits. These get updated more frequently for HSAs and IRAs, so you'll want to keep up on that. Because I do talk a lot about health savings accounts on the channel, if you subscribe, you'll see the updates as soon as I have them to share with you. The newest numbers I have at the time of this video are for 2022, where you can now contribute up to $3,650 for individual healthcare coverage and $7,300 for a family health plan. Alright, so let's get to the numbers so you can see where investing in these two accounts can earn you over $4 million if you don't plan to retire for 40 years. So we'll start with a few assumptions to make our calculations easy to understand and also to err on the low side. The first assumption is that the contribution limits will stay the same every year. Obviously that won't happen, but it keeps the math easy, and besides, we can't predict what they will be every year into the future. But since we know that contribution levels, if anything, will go up, contributing more in the future would even lead to higher potential returns, which obviously is a good thing, right? The second assumption is that we're investing the maximal contribution limit for both an IRA and an HSA for self-only coverage. That number comes in at $9,650, $6,000 for the IRA and $3,650 for the HSA. And keep this in mind, if you're contributing to a traditional IRA, that's $9,650 that you won't have to pay taxes on for the current tax year. So if your effective tax rate was at 15%, you would save almost $1,500 in money that would just otherwise go to taxes. Now that's not bad, and I'm not even including those savings in the $4 million number. Now for calculation purposes, we'll look at contributing monthly, where we take our $9,650 number and divide it by 12. So our monthly contribution will be $804, $500 for the IRA, $304 for the HSA. And remember, for this to work, you have to be consistent and contribute every month. The last assumption is that the average annual rate of returns for the stock market. For this, we'll look at using the S&P 500, where since 1926, its average annual return has been just over 10%. To make things easy, we'll use 10% as our expected returns. Again, just remember, past returns don't predict future returns. And in the short term, risks are higher for investing in stocks, but over long periods of time, returns have shown to be in excess of 10%. The 40-year timeline we're using would be considered to be a long period of time for an investing horizon. So let's see what we get when we calculate the numbers. And there you go. Based on the numbers we inputted, you would have a portfolio of over $5.1 million, just from investing in an IRA and an HSA. To break it down, you'll see that you contributed $386,724 throughout the 40 years. And those contributions, through the power of compounding every month, year over year, earns over $4.7 million, leaving you with a retirement nest egg of over $5.1 million. And you can get this with doing just two things: investing in an HSA and an IRA. And this doesn't include other things you can do to further grow your wealth, such as investing in taxable accounts and real estate. Now what's important here is that you start early and you're consistent with this. Like the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady wins the race. The compounding effect of investing is where the magic happens, where you can sit back and watch it passively grow. Of course, you have to actively make the decision to put the plan in motion and then follow through with it, and that's where many people fail. If you start just 10 years later, say you start investing in these accounts at 35 years old versus 25, you would end up with a portfolio of $1.8 million. That's substantially less, right? Now you did end up putting in less money, only $290,000 instead of $386,000, but losing those 10 years of being in the market is what really cost you $3.3 million. I'll link the calculator I used for this video in the description so you can work out some different scenarios for yourself. Now this video isn't to tell you that you should invest this way or that you can't tweak it to fit your needs or risk levels. For instance, as you get closer to retirement, you may want to start allocating your portfolio to have less stocks and more bonds to decrease your risk. But it should give you an idea of how an IRA and an HSA can be two critical components that you can lean on when investing for your retirement. You might think it's a long way off, but trust me, the older you get, the faster time goes by. So what do you think? Were you surprised that investing in just an IRA and an HSA could potentially leave you with $5 million for retirement? And are you interested in more videos on retirement accounts? Let me know in the comments. And if you're new to health savings accounts and want to learn more about them, remember to check out my updated video on how best to use them. So I hope you found this information helpful, and if you did, please push a like button and share with anyone you think could benefit from the video. And please let me know any thoughts or questions you have in the comments. That way we can all learn from each other on how to improve our financial wellness. And if you're interested in seeing some of my non-financial type of videos, I hope you check out my new second channel, How To with Kevin, where I share my experiences of other things I've learned to tackle, or things that come up that I have to figure out and I bring you along with me. And you can also follow me on Instagram. All that information is in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have a great day.